happening in energy. Joining me now to discuss is the former administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Andrew Wheeler. Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Wheeler. Listen, before we get to Jennifer Granholm, let me ask you, since you were head of the EPA and we're talking about energy, a day will come, clearly, when this country, maybe when you and I are old men, a day will come and we are not dependent on fossil fuels. But right now, we are absolutely, our economy is dependent on fossil fuels. And Joe Biden has taken what I believe was a legacy of American energy dominance that he was handed from Donald Trump. And in just a matter of months, he's squandered it. Your analysis.
Absolutely. It's one thing. It seems to be repeating that we're going back to the inflation of the 1970s. But President Biden's administration has also taken us back to the energy policies of the 1970s and Jimmy Carter, where we're held hostage to OPEC. And that doesn't have to be. You're absolutely correct. Under President Trump's leadership, we were energy dominant, not just energy independent, but energy dominant.
Right.
And we can be energy dominant again, but not with President Biden's policies.
And I'm glad you mentioned OPEC, because that's part of her, the ridiculous laugh, of course, is the most notable part of that clip that I played from Secretary Granholm, but also her statement about OPEC and her acquiescence. She essentially said, whatever the cartel does, it does, and we are simply supplicants to them. Now, again, to your point about the 1970s, there was a time when this country was subservient to OPEC, but not during the 4 years of Donald Trump. That's for sure. Why would Jennifer Granholm, and why would Joe Biden put us in a place, once again, of supplicants to a cartel? A cartel, by the way, mostly made up of countries that hate us.
The one thing she got right is it is a global product, and that it's subject to basic supply and demand 101. And if you decrease supply, it's going to cause problems on the demand side and in prices. And what they are doing domestically is decreasing our supply. They have stopped almost to a trickle drilling on federal lands. They're against ANWR. Right. They've canceled pipelines here in the United States. They're doing everything they can to decrease the supply of our domestic oil. In addition to that, they're also driving up the costs. They're driving up the costs through regulations across the board. And then something that they're even trying to do a step further. The big government socialist bill today that Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden are trying to push through Congress actually includes a new tax on a barrel of oil. So in addition to decreasing supply, they're trying to increase taxes on a barrel of oil. And that tax is going to be passed on to the American family. So prices are only going to continue to go up under Joe Biden's leadership.
No, it's a great point. It's a great point, Andrew. Things are really bad right now, and they could get a heck of a lot worse, unfortunately. Let's talk the politics of this, because I really think it's part, at least, of what happened in New Jersey, where the Republicans nearly won, and in Virginia, where the Republicans did win, in those two normally very blue states. Even Joe Scarborough on the left has taken notice of this problem for the Democrats. Let's listen to Morning Joe.
I haven't heard a Democrat, I certainly haven't heard a Democrat this year, talk about how groceries cost more, how gas at the shelves, empty shelves. The supply chain is screwed up. Inflation is high.
Listen, Andrew, I don't normally agree with Joe Scarborough, but he's making a great point here. And I want to hear your analysis on the politics of it, not just the policy, but the politics. Do you think that, at least in part, what drove the Democrats' terrible night on Tuesday in the elections was this inflation issue, largely an energy issue?
Absolutely. I don't follow the New Jersey politics as closely as I do Virginia, because I live in Virginia. We had a great candidate. We had a slate of great candidates in Virginia. So I don't want to diminish their victory, because they did a great job. But the families that I've seen and that I know in Virginia are very concerned about the increased prices and what they're paying. The increased prices of the gasoline pump.
Sure.
I can't believe how much gas has gone up, just over the last 8 months. It's incredible. And this really hurts. Energy prices hurt low-income families and people on a fixed income much harder. There's gasoline for your car, home heating, home cooling.
Right.
It's a huge percentage. your family's table. It's just an absolute fact, and they seem to be ignoring that.
And those groceries are going up in price, also largely because of energy prices. So it's a double whammy, triple whammy. Everywhere people turn, and you're so right about it disproportionately harming middle and lower income folks. For them, it's just a killer, unfortunately. And I fear that as temperatures cool all over America now into winter, that this could really be a brutal winter of home heating bills. Well, listen, Andrew Wheeler, thank you so much for joining us and for your insight this evening. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.